This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Welcome back to Research Talks with Alan Green here on Stock Box. Well, today we're going to be talking Voyager Life, which is a CBD company, newly listed. It's not many people know much about the company, I don't think. I interviewed the CEO, Nick Tulloch, not so long ago. A bit of an introduction onto Stockbox, but looking forward to getting your take on it. And GreenX Metals as well, who I know we've spoken about before with their moon buggy type vehicles, but there's more to them than that, which I'm sure you'll enlighten us on. So over to you, Alan. Voyager Life first.
Okay, so Voyager Life was a company founded by Chief Executive Nick Tulloch, and of course, Mark, we were just talking about Nick, who has an illustrious history in the sector. Of course, he's worked in financial markets for well over 20 years, worked for companies like Cazenove, Arbuthnot, Cantor Fitzgerald, and then really, I think he put a stamp on the CBD sector with his appointment to Zoetic International. Of course, that was very high profile. A few years ago, he established the CBD business and its European brand, Zoetic. And of course, they created a portfolio of over 20 products. He then went on from there to found Voyager Life, and of course Voyager is listed on the Aquis market under the EPIC code VOY. He founded the company to become a trusted brand for premium CBD and hemp products at fair prices. The aim of the company is to grow the business into a vertically integrated pan-European CBD and hemp business with operations spanning, although they're predominantly in Scotland, they have been looking to establish a facility overseas also. So currently the company is valued at around 1.5 million. So not perhaps a huge valuation, trading at 11p. Shares have been slightly higher on the year. It's 12p. So it values the company at just over £1.5 million sterling. But there's been quite a sort of a voyage, if you'll excuse the pun, to bring the company to where it is. Going back to 2021, Nick and his team launched a multi-CBD product company onto the crowdfunding platform Seeders, and of course raised 874,000 in a few days. CBD, of course, very much to the fore during the COVID pandemic, and I think there were so many concerns about what the outcome could be. So I think everyone was looking at alternative medicines and CBD products as a potential, well, not a cure, of course, but certainly something that could help them through the process. So on the back of that funding, they moved to a larger premises, opened their first shop in St Andrews in Scotland, and then in June that year they IPO'd on the Aquis exchange, raising 400,000, and also brought in Nikki Cooper and Jill Overland as non-exec directors to the business. Interestingly, we've spoken, of course, about pet care companies and the size of that sector, but they also have products in of course skincare, and also they launched a Pets Corner range later that year, and all of these products are sold, of course, through their website, voyagercbd.com. They also opened a further store in Edinburgh that year, in the suburbs, Stockbridge, and then a third store in Dundee. And at the end of that year, they acquired a company called Caniful, which they relaunched as Voyager Can, which basically white-labeled skincare products. And through that process, they that they established an in-house manufacturing facility and developed a range of skincare products, and also hemp pet shampoo and other offerings too within the sector. At that time, moving into 2022, the company grew further. They moved to a new head office in Perth. To date now, they have a formulated product range that exceeds 70 products. Just about a year ago, in August a year ago, they had their best ever sales week to date, launched a series of new skincare products. And then at the end of last year, they entered an agreement, put some money into escrow to acquire a manufacturing facility in Poland. January this year, they launched a loyalty program for customers. So customers buying CBD products are now able to earn points with every purchase made either on the website or at any one of the 3 shops. That's St Andrews, Dundee and Edinburgh. That gives them money off purchases. It opens them up to member-only offers. And also, the more they shop, the further their rewards are enhanced. So they're rewarding frequency of shopping, which is a very sound idea. In May, we had an operational update from the company. The company said it had generated some 307,000 in revenue, established a 68% gross margin on its UK businesses up to March this year. At that point, they had 1 million in cash in the company. They put 500,000 aside in escrow for the Poland acquisition, and Nick Tulloch said at the time, in just over 4 months, they'd sort of developed in 2023, they developed an enlarged business, well positioned for success, and also because of the expansion, they were now able to supply larger orders. So with the actual product sale size or the average order size being fairly small, they're now with the white label service able to secure much larger orders, and this is going to be a significant factor going forward in the life of the group. And in many businesses, you have this slow development where you've got lots of items that are priced, modestly, but then of course you enter the bulk order market and you're getting these large orders through. It can really substantially add to the turnover of the business, and it's a real cash cow. We've seen this with other companies that are selling products with a small average sale price, but actually the turnover is steady. It's a big cash generator, and of course, I would say, as this company develops, it's going to become an extremely attractive target for, say, a mainstream retailer looking to diversify into CBD products. I mean, I think the rate at which they're now growing the business, I think they've very much put themselves on the map for that. One other thing that differentiates the group too is that, and this is obviously down to Nick's experience through running Zoetic and developing the business, they have a much more advanced and comprehensive in-house in-house capabilities than their peer groups out there. So they're able to pivot, they're able to scale up, and of course really develop the business according to the orders that they're generating. So that's very key. And then I mentioned the Polish facility earlier. The most recently, about a month and a half ago, the company stated it was unable to complete the Poland acquisition. There were uncertainties over access to the properties there, and also the ownership of the transaction assets, i.e. the freehold of the land and the buildings. And of course, if you think you're buying a company and its assets and its property, and then all of a sudden, there are access issues and everything else, then of course it creates complications. And indeed, Nick Tulloch said that due to the fact that this process had taken so long, they had decided to terminate the acquisition, and they've applied to secure that cash that's in escrow. So what it means is although the acquisition won't go ahead, the company has been able to scale up to the point where Voyager has its first large-scale order confirmed, with a second expected in autumn, and also at the same time they've generated another order for 25,000. And what Nick as the team have said is that with these bulk orders that they're now going for, the actual size of those orders is in some cases equivalent to, or will be in some cases equivalent to, the entire turnover for last year. So it gives you some idea of the scale this company's, the scale and the ambition that the company has and what it's aiming to do. Once they secure the money back from escrow, their cash balance will be 787,000, and this will mean that they're funded for the next 12 months. And of course, if they're winning these bulk orders, that could actually mean that conceivably the company may even have the opportunity to turn cash positive over the coming financial year. And of course, if that happens, you've got a company that's got 787,000 cash. It's got a market capitalization of just 1.5 million. I don't think it'll take a genius to work out that the multiples that will start to kick in should see the valuation propelled very much higher in the not too distant future.
It's got potential, I think, there with the business model that they're going for.
Well, I think it was just that comment he made, the fact that these bulk orders they're now pursuing, of course, these are the white label products where they're dealing with, much larger companies, and of course overseas as well. They've got the opportunity, with one of those orders to equal the turnover of the previous year, and I think that that's gives you some idea of the ambition of the company, and also the potential scale of the opportunity out there for Voyager. And perhaps Nick felt that he'd done it before with Zoetic, but perhaps he didn't. He had a vision for that company which he wasn't able to fulfill, and of course he can now do that with Voyager Life, which I think, by the way, is a great brand. And if you go to the website, which is voyagerlife.uk, you can actually see the range of products on the homepage, ingestible CBD and hemp products, and of course the Pets Corner products, skincare products, and just a complete, a vast range of products containing CBD oils, and the product range is at well over 70 now, and of course I'm sure they'll be adding to that.
Oh, I'm sure they will be. I'm sure they will be. Well, that's good to hear. And hopefully they'll be on Stockbox a fair bit more as they progress things up and hopefully fairly rapidly ramp up production and scale up on the business side of it. But thank you, Alan, for giving us the high-level overview of Voyager Life. So Green Metals then, GreenX Metals.
GreenX Metals, yes, indeed. Epic code GRX, and this is a company with quite a unique investment proposition, based on the fact that historically the company has had, or it was another life, a company called Prairie Mining, and on the back of that involvement with Prairie Mining, due to the Polish government, the company is in. It has claimed against the Polish government for damages due to the Polish government effectively taking away the rights to two coal mines that Prairie Mining had, and on the back of that, there has been arbitration proceedings are going ahead, and the company is claiming for damages against Poland to the amount of 737 million pounds sterling. That's 1.3 billion Australian dollars, and includes a revised assessment of the value of GreenX's lost profits and damages relating to the Jankarski and Debiensko coal mining projects. And the company announced legal funding opportunity in 2020. $12.5 million came in, and that fund has been drawn on to cover legal expenses. And at the date of its quarterly activities report, which is published on the 28th of July this year, the company said that it doesn't anticipate further material drawdowns now that funding costs relating to the claims have been dispersed, and it's on a no-win, no-fee basis. So it believes, because of the success of other claims of this nature, that it will succeed. And of course, if that happens, it's going to release a tremendous amount of money into the coffers of the company. So as regards the valuation for GreenX Metals, the company is currently trading at 49 pence. The shares have risen steadily during the year. I'm going to come to the projects that the company is engaged with shortly, but a lot of this asymmetric valuation is very much driven by this case with the Polish government. So the team that have been contracted to do this have a success rate of well over 95%. So I think the market is fully expecting that GreenX will win this case, which of course is very exciting news for shareholders. The company currently has a market capitalization of 140 million sterling, and so in terms of the potential win it could draw back from this, that's obviously fairly. It doesn't really, I think, represent the full potential value within GreenX Metals. So the projects the company's engaged in are projects in Greenland. Of course, Mike, we've spoken previously about Greenland and the potential there. Last year, the company progressed its primary project, which of course is the Arctic Rift copper project. Now this is up in the north of Greenland. There's a very good map on the GreenX Metals website. So if you Google GreenX Metals website, it'll take you straight there, and then of course you can view this map, and you'll see this is right up in the north. And this is an area that was really for the last century covered in permafrost, but due to the effects of global warming, parts of this area are now becoming more accessible. And so what we saw last year, which I think really captured the imagination of both investors and also a company that was supplying vehicles to GreenX Metals, the company shipped some exploration vehicles and geologists, and these were SHERP all-terrain vehicles, which look like moon buggies, literally. And these vehicles, as the term indicated, can literally go anywhere. They don't need to rely on tracks to get to where they're going to go. They have these huge tires, and they can just drive over the terrain. And what the geologists found was the Arctic Rift copper projects. It's targeting large scale copper in settings across an area that's it's getting on for 6,000 square kilometers, and they have a special exploration license. It's barely been explored at all in the past due to the environment, but a work program undertaken last year demonstrated the high-grade nature of the copper mineralization in fault-hosted black earth zones and sandstone units, and they discovered a native copper fissure at the Neergard Down prospect, which the company is currently assessing. But what the team on the ground found there was literally at the Neergard Down prospect that the copper was literally sitting on top of the rocks, and in some cases the geologists were taking a pickaxe, chopping this copper away and taking it back for assessment, and it was basically smelter ready copper. So it's very rare that I think you'll find mineralization that's that pure and that extensive, and that's why the company's hugely excited about the opportunity here. But of course, logistically, it's all well and good having that asset there. You've got to get a production facility to mine the asset in the first instance, then you've got to ship it out. And of course, the company was able to land the exploration ship and land there, get the ATVs on the ground. But in order to set up a mine there and develop it, that of course will require a tremendous amount of investment. So the deal is with ARC. It's a joint venture between GreenX Metals and a private company called Greenfields Exploration Limited. GreenX has an option to earn 80% of ARC by spending 10 million Australian dollars by October 2026. So there's plenty of opportunity for GreenX to get involved and to develop that project, and then effectively own 80% of the project and work with partners to bring it to production. Then the company announced in July this year it had entered an option again with Greenfields Exploration to acquire up to 100% of the Eleanor North Gold Project, also in eastern Greenland. So the Eleanor North anomaly has the potential to host a reduced intrusion-related gold system, which is very similar in its geology and its modelling to large bulk tonnage deposits found in Canada, and comparisons have been made to some pretty famous projects in Canada, Dunling Creek, Fort Knox, and the Dublin Gulch. Documented mineralization at the Near Pluton project there had located a geophysical bullseye, which is some 6 kilometers wide. So, it gives you some idea of the scale, and also the fact, as I said at the start, this is virtually uncharted territory. It's not been explored before. So these are companies with boots on the ground, first of all, and also, of course, those fantastic ATV vehicles, all-terrain vehicles. And I think, there's a real opportunity here to provide GreenX Metals not only with exposure to copper through the Arctic Rift Copper Project, but also gold to complement its existing exploration assets, of course, through the Eleanor Gold Project. And of course, Mark, we've spoken in the past about other companies, Amarok Minerals, of course, operating in Greenland with the Nalunaq Gold Project to the south there, hugely successful, and there's huge potential again with that project. So the Greenland government are also incredibly supportive of companies working in the country. There are many grants made available and many concessions made available to companies that, of course, will go out and employ local people in the area and engage with the community, and of course engage with the Greenland government. So the company reported a cash balance in June of 8.7 million. Subsequent to the end of the quarter, the company also completed placing, issuing a further 5 million shares, raised gross proceeds of 2.1 million sterling from new and existing investors, and the proceeds will be used to further exploration activities, both at the Arctic Rift Copper Project and also, of course, the new Eleanor Gold Project. And then, of course, in the background, we have the arbitration claim with the Polish government. So I think the share price or the chart really tells its own story. I think investors are seeing real potential here. From a charting standpoint, I'm sure the chartists out there would look at this chart and say, well, since April last year or since April this year, we've seen three very distinct high lows, both in March the 24th, June the 6th, and then of course that low on July 27th. And I think now we've created those three high lows, or those three high lows have been very distinct and very clear on the chart. I think the share price looks to be building a floor just above this level, and I'm sure once we get further news of exploration, of course, further news on the arbitration and tribunal, we're going to see price action that should see the share price push higher.
Okay, thank you, Alan. I mean, is their market cap actually 133 million?
Yeah, it's about 100. It was 140 million when I checked, but it's 260 million Aussie dollars. So of course we're we're looking the market capitalization partly takes into account the potential win with the tribunal,
That's
and
a
then of
pretty.
course
That's not a small company, then, is it? Because I'm
it's
just
no.
looking at their. I mean, their sort of the website, the social media. It doesn't look like they're very active either. Sort of telling the story.
Well, I think what they've done, because in terms of activity, of course they are progressing the projects, but the access to Greenland, particularly that part of Greenland, is quite difficult. So they have to get in and get out at certain times when they have the window of opportunity. But of course, the tribunal, the outcome of the tribunal, the final judgment on that will come when it comes. So in a sense, it's a company in limbo. But of course, if that outcome is successful and the full funds are awarded to the company, or the claim is awarded to the company, then it's going to be transformational. And I'm sure the proceeds will then be used to invest into further projects in Greenland, and perhaps elsewhere too. But it's a really, as the company said, it's very much an asymmetric investment proposition, because on the one hand you've got this claim, and then on the other hand you've got two very high quality projects in Greenland. So the projects progress at a certain rate of knots. That they're both early stage, so it's so in a sense, undertaking the exploration work, getting on site and progressing is in itself quite an extensive logistical event. So in terms of the sporadic news flow, I think really the nature of the company, you're unlikely to see too many changes. But I think the shares are tightly held. You can see the price action on the chart certainly reflects progress over the year. And I'm sure once we get further news on the arbitration, on the outcome, or further news from trips to either the Eleanor Gold Project or the Arctic Rift Copper Project, then we're going to see further price action to reflect that.
But do you think it sort of hinges, or we're in a holding pattern until they get the arbitration situation sorted?
Yeah, or unless a trip to the Arctic Rift or Eleanor confirms the findings and progresses further still. There are several factors that could represent key inflection points for share price value for investors. But I think either way, there seems to be little downside. Obviously, if the ruling goes against them, then it's a completely different story altogether. But I think a lot of investors are holding the stock based on that outcome and the expectations of that outcome, and the lawyers that are representing them have a 95% success rate in cases such as this. So I think you can draw your own conclusions. And it does seem, with other awards made in similar circumstances, the companies that have sued the governments have been successful and won the damages and claim.
And it's significant damages, isn't it? Like you say, 700 million, and that's possibly why then the market cap is high. I mean, it's pricing in not very much of that claim. And I mean, if that does come in, then of course that's a lot of money they can then use to go and explore or continue the exploration in Greenland, I would guess. Which of course Greenland, as we know, you mentioned Amarok there. The government of Greenland are very keen to support mining companies. It's been talked about perhaps as the European new district for mining, with some of the activities that are going on there. It's becoming a bit more accessible, a bit more easy to do business, I think, over there. So if that ruling does come in, then that is a lot of money they can, well, as you say, they can either acquire new projects or carry on with the two they've got. I mean, what are the two? Do you know what the next sort of plans perhaps would be, or the next set of activities would be with the Greenland projects?
Well, the company has said. I mean, the most recent announcement was the core activities report. So
Yeah.
everything is in that. But certainly, Eleanor North, as I say, has identified this huge geophysical bullseye, which is 6 kilometers wide. And that's also coincident with elevated gold mineralization from historical sampling that has been undertaken there. So it also contains copper, antimony, and tungsten prospects there too. So the GreenX has to spend just 600,000 on the project within 12 months, and that represents its 100% earnings. So it's a great opportunity here, and I think, but I think also, to reflect the vastness of the country, these projects are, as with many other projects of this nature, the actual territory is, or the licensed territory is huge. So within that territory, there will no doubt discover other opportunities as well. So it may well be that with Arctic Rift and with Eleanor Gold, they have enough to be going on with. But yeah, my guess is I'm sure they'll get involved with other projects if the opportunity arises, and then perhaps become wholly focused on Greenland. And as you said, Mark, given what we know about Amarok, and also I interviewed Elder Olafsson a while back, and certainly the help provided to exploration companies by the Greenland government, the concessions made. The Greenland government are welcoming explorers with open arms, literally, and there are great concessions and great tax breaks for companies that will obviously employ local people and contribute to the economy.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Alan, for bringing that to our attention and investors' attention. So let's watch this space, particularly with GreenX on the arbitration, because that's a significant inflection point. But thank you for giving us the case there for Voyager Life and GreenX Metals.
Thank you, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.